Now, Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman has said that the Insolvency and Bankruptcy Code has played a key role in helping banks recover from the NPA crisis. Macquarie, in a recent note, has said that the initial high recovery rates were boosted by large steel sector resolutions. But the recovery rate actually has been falling since. We have a couple of gentlemen with us to discuss this. We have Shiju PV, Senior Partner, India Law LLP, and Kumar Saurabh, Singh, Partner at Khaitan and Company, joining in to take this conversation forward. So let me just start by sort of posing what Macquarie in a note is saying. They're saying that the March data by the IBBI reveals that recovery rates over the years have been falling. And as I said in my preamble, the initial high resolutions were led by some large steel accounts, resolutions there. And then, of course, go on to detail a whole many reasons why the rates actually have been falling. Saurabh, if I can start by, gentlemen, good morning. Good to have both of you here. Prashant this side. Saurabh, if I can start by asking you to sort of react to what Macquarie is saying, and if you want to put some of these numbers in perspective. Go on.
Well, thanks, Prashant, for having me. I think, the data that is presented by Macquarie is there for all to see. So, clearly there has been some drop in the recoveries, which you see from the insolvency process. But overall, one has to see it in the context of the framework which has been put in place in last 8 years. You can't just look at 1 year's number. I think overall in last 8 years, the framework has done well. It has helped in the overall resolution environment of the country and for banks to really being able to turn around companies which have been in distress. So in that sense, the figures cannot be looked in isolation. But yes, temporarily there has been a drop, and I think it requires some intervention both from government and judicial side to really see where the backlog is getting created, because clearly it's the delays which is pulling down the recovery. Even if you look at IBBI numbers, that also indicates that the moment the resolution period goes beyond 1 year, the recovery rates tend to go down. And this is in a way indicator of, say, process running well beyond 330 days, which is what the law prescribes as the time frame for resolution. So as the time period passes, your recovery.
But what is in your opinion, Saurabh, in your opinion, what is the main reason for the delay?
I think there are, of course, judicial backlog is one aspect which clearly contributes to the delay. But I won't put the entire blame on the judicial side only. I think all the stakeholders really involved in the process, be it the creditors committee, the way it is functioning, that also has to really take responsibility of being able to take quick decision, because sometimes what tends to happen is that decision making is prolonged, and that tends to eventually cause say disagreements and leads up to dispute, which then ends up in judiciary. So I think all stakeholders need to really sit down and work together to help improve the numbers.
Shiju, your first thoughts on this?
See, IBC has been more or less similar with other kinds of recovery laws as far as recovery is concerned. So it didn't bring much changes as far as recovery percentage is concerned. But we have to see IBC from an overall holistic perspective. The purpose of law is not just a recovery, because there are many laws for recovery alone. So it has to see its purpose is to bring resolution and also to improve the overall credit environment of the country, to bring some credit discipline. I think from that perspective, IBC is working well. So in an economy like us, there are two kinds of default. One is actual business default, which we cannot stop it. But as far as willful default is concerned, the promoters are a little wary now to actually default that kind of a situation. So that's an improvement, I would say. And regarding the reasons, judiciary is always there, but that we have to live with the judiciary. But also from the judges' side, because we have to understand that IBC is not a typical adversarial law. So something like judges has to come out and take an active role in the resolution. That's something is lacking from the benches. Similarly, insolvency professional, they have a very active role to play in overall insolvency resolution process. Somehow the training, their expertise is still lacking despite
Yeah.
more than 7 years we are been in this law.
Okay.
Similarly,
So
I
that
would
some of
say
that institutional capacity is yet to be built. But I just want to make compare that, so as compared to earlier recovery rates under CDR, etc., you're saying recovery rates have largely remained same under IBC? So
Yeah,
there's not much change. That's what you're saying?
there is not much change.
Okay. But
One
fresh
reason could,
defaults, sorry, go on.
yeah. As you said, the fresh default, especially the willful default, I think it's coming down because promoters are not really worried. And also we have to understand that the second tier of the IBC, which is personal insolvency regime, is not yet taken off. Only the personal guarantee regime is still effective. So once the personal insolvency regime is also taken into effect, it will bring much more credit discipline in the country.
No, this Macquarie note, and of course the data, as Kumar, Saurabh also said, is there for everyone to say. They say that 44% of the cases admitted go in for liquidation, and that is a matter of concern. Saurabh, you want to respond to that?
Clearly, I mean, the number of cases going into liquidation is a matter of concern. The time being taken in the process to resolve, even in case of successful resolutions, is also a matter of concern. But as I was saying earlier, the framework for resolution has strong foundations. Today, in last 8 years, we have seen stakeholders benefit out of the process. The banks have really had seen good recoveries in last 7 8 years. Some of these problems, like a lot of cases going into liquidation, could be say addressed through time bound resolution. The amount of time that you take effectively impacts the prospects and in a way brings down the confidence also. So what we see today in Macquarie's report really is an indicator of the fact that today there are problems in the process, but it still may be much better than what we had earlier. And some of these problems from time to time which has arisen in the process, government has proactively addressed. So in that sense, with the kind of statement which has come from finance minister, it's clear indicator that both RBI and government are very clearly looking at this framework to really be a resolution process which helps in quick resolution and helps bank to really manage their NPL problems. So I think some of these issues, including the backlog, capacity issues, the decision making, has to be resolved through continuous dialogue and discussion. And clearly, you will see that NPL numbers for banks is looking much better. At the same time, you have a higher number of cases going into liquidation. In a way, that is, I mean, that doesn't compare well together. So I think somewhere the system needs to look into these aspects also and find ways to really minimize the time process spent in the resolution and at the admission stage also, because what we are also seeing is that at the admission stage anywhere between 3 to 6 months is being taken for admitting companies into insolvency. Now that's the area where I think there is room for clear improvement, and that's the stage where companies need most support. And if you are able to really admit them quickly if they need resolution, then you will see probably reduction in the number of cases going into liquidation.
I mean, greater the delays, lower the recoveries. I mean, I think the data is very, very clear. Saurabh and Shiju, great to have both of you here for that quick chat. Appreciate your time here on CNBC TV18 today. And we'll continue to track this data point and what can be done, as both of you said, that, a lot of things need to come together to build institutional capacity to kind of resolve this in a more timely manner, admission into the process itself, and of course then fast-tracking this so it doesn't see inordinate delays.